Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Finger Guns podcast with Tony, Dave, and James. I'm way too close to the mic, Jimmy, and I am backing up and pointing over to
Mastermind, Big Tasty Tony B. Mastermind. Yeah, I said it. It. Dude, I've listened to that song at least 25 times between yesterday and today.
Oh.
And it is, I don't know.
I thought you meant like the Mastermind Toys thing. Like
No.
you're just a little kid at heart. But
No.
okay.
I thought he was talking about the Will Ferrell movie from
there we go.
2010 from DreamWorks picture.
Is that Mastermind or Megamind?
Megamind.
And I'm also here with...
Documentary Dave, who doesn't know the difference between Mastermind and
Hell
Megamind.
yeah. Sometimes we stump the Rolodex that is Dave's brain. Sometimes.
Masterminds was
Zach
Sal
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
Yeah.
Mm.
That heist
It
one.
was a heist movie.
Yeah.
Came and went with
That-
a
yeah.
wet fart.
That only you two remember.
Yeah.
You just talked about a movie that I'm sure Zach Galifianakis doesn't even remember is on his IMDb.
Probably not.
It's like that Jack Black clip when he forgets that he was in a Christmas movie.
I love it.
All right, we got so much to cover tonight.
Yes, yes, we do.
So you want to just get right into it? Let's just do it. So we're going to change this one up a little bit, ever so slightly for our usual regular scheduled episode. If you listened to our bonus one night last week, you kind of knew that we have been covering Hot Dogs, and Hot Dogs has blessed us with so many screeners.
Yes, a plethora.
One
of
might say
screeners.
too many screeners,
Never too many.
but a lot of them nonetheless. And we have a lot to cover, so we are scrapping everything except our main segment, which we will get to a little bit later, because we got to talk about some documentaries.
Yes, they blessed us. The Hot Docs brethren blessed us with many a documentary this time.
It's true.
And
Hallelujah.
Praise be.
Praise be.
We have more documentaries to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Tony, you are the mastermind with the list. Tell me what's first.
So first up, we got So This Is Christmas.
Ooh, that's the one that I saw. You want me to sell you guys on this documentary?
Yes.
Thrill me.
All right. Here it comes. You ready for the pitch? You ready?
Is it about Celine? Is it that Celine Dion? Is it about Celine Dion? Because I keep thinking
It is
"So
not,
this is-"
and that song never plays.
Oh, what the fuck?
That song never plays.
No.
What a
So,
waste.
There's
Wait,
Christmas
shuck it.
music, but anyway. So This Is Christmas. Maybe there's an instrumental cover of it. I'm starting to forget what happens musically in this movie because none of
Tony
it matters.
asked you to thrill him.
Thrilling you. Here we go. Ready?
Ready?
Small town in Ireland. 4 people. And a very bleak look at fucking Christmas.
Huh.
That is it in a nutshell. We have a single mom of 2 children. We have a recently widowed father of 2 children. We have a recently, actually unsure if widowed or if recently divorced single woman. We have an old woman who's never married. And 5 people. And we have a guy who's lived on a farm his whole life, who's also never married. That's it. That's your people. And all of it is sad and depressing and emotionally draining and exhausting for the entire runtime of the documentary. And it's essentially just the days leading up to Christmas and how they're preparing to celebrate the holidays if they can. And a lot of it is we're too poor to afford things, like the mom of 2 children who can't afford like gifts for her children or doesn't know if she's going to be able to put food on the table one week to the next. The recent widower who's just a mess, obviously.
As you do.
The lady who's the old lady who's divorced or widowed, unsure, who's just opted to say, and this is where it got confusing because at one point she said, I'm going to spend Christmas with my partner's family. And then to her family, she said she's going to spend Christmas, like, reverse so that she can just spend Christmas alone. So that, and then the old farmer guy who has very few family relations and doesn't see anybody at Christmas. It was just sad the entire time.
So what's the
There's
point?
not a
It's
ray of
just-
hope. It's just looking at people who don't celebrate the most idyllic Christmas.
All right.
That's it.
In Ireland.
In Ireland. In small town Ireland. They're all in the same town. In small town Ireland. All right.
Well, why don't any of them hook up?
Good question. Never explained.
Just seems like there's a single woman and a
Yep.
widowed guy. Like that just seems.
Yep. Nope.
All right.
All right. That's so this is Christmas. It's a documentary.
Is it funny?
No. It's bleak, Dave. It's bleak.
Well, it says filled with Irish humor here, so I guess you're right. Bleak.
It's bleak, yeah.
It's
It's
super
depressing. It's famine inducing.
There's no potatoes.
Oh, there's potatoes. That's because that's all most of them can afford in order to cook their sad, lonely meals.
All right.
Wow,
Or
that
not.
Movie, that movie sounds rough.
It's so rough, Tony. I won't recommend it. It was not my most favorite thing. I mean, it's a well shot and well put together thing. If you're into that, it's just the subject matter is so bleak and depressing that it's like, why?
Wow.
Thankfully, I didn't watch this near Christmas because that would have been so depressing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That
Wow.
sounds,
It's
that
rough.
sounds like a bummer.
It's a huge bummer. It's a huge downer. There's not even a happy ending to end on. They just kind of celebrate Christmas and they muddle through as best as they can, as any good Catholic Irish would. That's it.
So it's well made, just not.
Yeah, it's
your-
well made.
Not
It's
not your glass of Guinness.
yeah, like it's easily watchable. Like it's good to. It's not my pint of Guinness. Yes,
Like,
Was that
Um,
was that in the log line there?
no, it's not. I
No.
came up
You
with that
just can't-
myself.
I'm
and
proud of
I
you, Dave.
screwed it up, and I didn't say pint.
yeah, yeah. Like it's well shot. Like it's well framed off. You know, the good coverage on all five. Like I didn't think that anyone was favored more than the other. And it kind of followed it in the sort of the same. Like whatever the subject matter that they were kind of talking with one was the same that they were talking with the other in different angles. And every single one of the subjects had different angles of it. Like, you know, someone who was just a strict Catholic their whole life. And like, but even that, like the one who, the older lady who lives alone and has always lived alone and like kind of told a little bit of her backstory and was like, well, you know, when I went to school, that's when I really started. I got bullied and then I got like raped. And I was like, well, Jesus, fuck, man. And then she's like, since then I decided to live alone. I'm like, well, yeah, but fuck. Like, none of this gets any better at any point. And then, I don't know, the mom with the single mom with two kids who's a stay-at-home mom, even though she has no other support and like lives barely on welfare. And like, I'm like, but your kids go to school during the day. Find something, maybe a part-time job, anything. No,
It's not easy, James.
I get it. So
Not
I was
easy.
just like, again, but it just adds into the depression. It's just kind of like, oh, like your kids really wanted like this and this and this for Christmas, but I don't think I'm going to be able to afford that. And like she's wrapping sad Christmas gifts. And one of them was like a pencil case. And I was like, oh, man.
Was it a cool pencil?
No,
Oh.
no. Anyway,
You're
Not-
making me real sad.
I'm
James.
sorry. And that's
Oh.
like, we're starting on a bummer, but that's where this documentary landed for me. It was just so depressing and sad. I couldn't wait for it to be over so that I could just watch something cheerful again and like go stand in the sun and get a ray of sunshine on my face because like, also it's Ireland. So there's no sun. It's just gray and rainy every single fucking shot that they show you. And like this guy like doesn't have a car and he's got to walk 5 miles to the pub near his town and like that's where he goes every day for a pint and it's just like you just
want to hug them.
I just want to help.
Yeah.
It didn't even end with like here's a GoFundMe. No, these people can suffer in their squalor. Like
Man,
Rough.
that's
it's rough. It's rough. But again, well shot, good framing, good subjects to pick. Like they are engaging in that sense. Like I was engaged. It was just
So it's
I
a
wish
good
it was
it's
cheerful.
a good movie. It's just not
Yeah.
cheerful.
It's not cheerful at all.
Okay.
It's sad.
All right.
Next.
Tony.
Next up, we got Lost in the Shuffle, which
Ooh.
was just the one that I watched.
Mm,
That one's
fancy.
significantly more upbeat than the one that you just
it
described.
already sounds like it. Is it
This
about
one-
shuffling and getting lost in it?
Before Tony gets into that, it was a world premiere, and apparently the three of us fucked up because the screening on April 29th had a Q&A and a live magic show.
Oh, damn.
Damn
That
it.
sucks. This magician's actually kind of good.
Oh,
I liked his stuff.
It was his act.
Oh,
I can't say his name properly, so Sean Farquhar.
I was gonna say Sean Farquhar.
Let's
Sure.
just call him Sean.
Sean. So
First
it follows him.
Sean F.
He is a 2-time world magic champion,
cool.
and it follows him as he's creating a new act.
Cool.
So he interviews some of his favorite acts and stuff to see if he can try and get some inspiration from their acts and apply it to his own. And it even goes into like the origins of playing cards and how certain people in history inspired the look of the cards,
The designs,
and stuff.
it looks, yeah.
Who inspired the Joker?
They don't talk about the Joker. They talk about the King of Hearts a lot,
Oh,
Queen of Spades.
neat.
There's definitely some stories and anecdotes behind those two cards.
Cool.
Dave, you would love this movie because they say the title of the movie.
I do love that. I
Right?
do love that.
There's this one part I really liked. I can't remember what the subject's name was, but he was saying the role of your card, like the whole point of a card trick is to control the chaos.
Yeah.
Right. And he like basically like applies it to like life, right? Because your whole life there's chaos all around you, right? And you're in control of it. And I really liked that message and and it just kind of brought like a whole new perspective of what a magic trick is, right?
Nice.
I really liked that.
Were there any magic tricks with pencils?
There's no magic tricks with pencils, Dave.
Okay, so it's just cards.
It's strictly just cards.
Okay.
A lot of sleight of hands and stuff. Just seeing how he interacts. Even he just goes up to random strangers on the street and just does magic tricks and just like completely blows their mind. He blew my mind when I was watching it.
Nice.
He doesn't show you how he did it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
Magician never reveals his trick.
Some magicians
And
do.
it's not like showing like an in-depth of how they did it, right? It's more like celebrating the tricks.
Sure.
I like that a lot. You guys should definitely check this one out. I had a lot of fun watching it. He's Sean F is definitely a hell of a subject.
Nice.
He's a good talker, very interesting.
Did they get Penn and Teller?
They did not get Penn.
Damn it. Throw the documentary in the bin.
Everything we keep asking, he's like, no. It's really good. No.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
living my dreams. No, I'm kidding. Go on. Yes.
But yeah, you should definitely check it out. Nothing more to say. Very fun. It felt kind of episodic with every subject.
Nice.
Every subject is just basically like a new stage in how he forms the act and stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing now that he did a magic trick at one of the Q&A or a magic show at one of the Q&As, I'm kind of kicking myself for not being a part of that. That would have been fun as fuck for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, check this out. Lost in the Shuffle.
Sweet. I like it. That sounds fun though. Thank you for at least bringing this.
A lot more uplifting
Thank you.
than
Thank you.
James's Irish famine movie.
Yes. Thank you. Thank fuck.
Yeah, definitely. So next up, we got another downer, but somewhat uplifting one. We have Black Box Diaries.
Oh, all right.
What do we got? Directed by Shiori Ito. She was a young aspiring journalist who was raped by, was it a producer?
I think it was a producer,
high-powered producer who
like media producer.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
Who he's buddies with the prime minister
of Japan.
Oh, that's
So she wants
not excellent.
So she reports it, and then she's filming it and kind of documenting it along the way, the process that she has to go through, the people she has to go through. There's a lot of just static imagery, and you're just hearing the recordings because she can't record because she's just either secretly recording or she's not allowed to show faces.
Oh, right.
So this one had premiered, I believe this one premiered at Sundance. Or it definitely premiered earlier this year. We're not allowed to say too much about it, but it's really, really well done.
Nice.
Really well done.
Okay.
It's just the scrappy way she put it together is pretty great.
Yeah.
Very DIY.
Yeah.
Very like real raw.
Kind of like Sextortion Diaries.
Yeah.
Kind of.
In the same vein, I would say.
In the same vein. Yeah.
Nice.
A little more naturalistic.
Yeah, less like less on the computer,
Yes.
more
Yeah.
like a mix of both, basically.
Mix of both.
Neat.
But yeah,
Neat.
it's a hard one to watch. I think the only thing that I was a little iffy about was at the beginning. She's it's like text about trigger warnings and stuff, like kind of
Sure.
preparing
Yeah.
you. And she says like, just take a breath. That's what works for me. And I was just like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Don't
So-
tell me how to live.
Yeah. So that I was a little on the
Yeah.
fence about, but
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed the rest of the film. It as like there is a trigger warning for a reason, and some of it is hard to watch, but the way she put this together is astonishing.
Nice. No, that's.
I really
I'm
liked
gonna see if I can squeeze that in. Check that one out. That's great.
Yes, for sure. Tony.
Next up, we got Me, Michael, and I, which also had its world
Ah.
premiere.
All three of us saw
All
that
three of
one.
us saw that one.
We did.
That one was an interesting one.
A strange case. So let's walk through it slightly. So, it is about a young man in Montreal, in Quebec, who is obsessed with Michael Jackson.
He's Michael Jackson.
Obsessed with Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Is a Michael Jackson impersonator and has now sort of designed his physical appearance around Michael Jackson and striving to look as close to him as possible. And so the documentary is following him as he undergoes some of those changes. But I guess the overarching sort of thread is he wants to put on a live show of Michael Jackson songs as a Michael Jackson impersonator, like a big.
And he wants to replicate
Yes.
some of his shows.
Yes.
He wants to be like the ultimate impersonator.
Correct. Yeah.
Leave nothing up to the imagination. When you
Just
look at
give
it, when you look
Michael
at
Jackson.
yeah, when you look at him, you see Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do we feel about this one?
Honestly, it was really interesting. It was one of those movies where I could not take my
Fascinating.
eyes off it. Literally, he's such an interesting subject.
Yeah, he's an odd guy.
Yeah, he's an odd guy, and watching getting the firsthand look at some of the cosmetic changes he's going through
Yeah.
is pretty.
Oh man,
It's
the
like
breaking
mouth
the
when he
jaw
breaks
was
his
not
jaw,
okay.
yeah.
I literally,
Couldn't dig it
I
out.
put my head inside my t-shirt. I did not watch it. I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. There's just something about that, like that kind of, like when they were like, oh yeah, and so we're just gonna like basically slit your palate open from fucking stern to keel. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? What? And then I was like, okay, maybe they're just going to talk about it. And then they were like in the operating theater. I was like, fuck this. No.
Yeah.
It doesn't get too graphic.
No, but still, it's just like the sounds of it and like the,
Yeah.
you got the drill sounds and like the
Yeah.
dentist thing. You're seeing him
It's-
like crank his mouth open. I was like, no,
it's
no,
more
no,
of
no,
it's
no.
more of the aftermath
Yeah.
where his face is a
Oh,
mess.
my
and
God,
he can't,
yeah.
he's crying, he's
Drooling,
drooling, and he's a mess.
bleeding and
But I also like him as a subject, but I think they
Yeah.
were too easy on him because they talk about that, like, he's so laser focused
Yeah.
that like he is falling out with his family, that he's spending all this obscene amounts of money
Yeah.
on all
Well,
these surgeries, and they let him get away with it. They just kind of like have
yeah.
like he is the subject and they're just kind of showing him without saying anything, but then you have all these other talking heads and his family and his friend
Yeah.
and his girlfriend who are putting more context to what he's doing, but it's like, why aren't you challenging him or saying
Yeah.
if
They've
if
just
they're
accepted
saying
it.
this, if
Yeah.
they're saying this, why aren't you challenging him and asking him about this?
True.
That was
Sure.
my issue with it, was that it was like, okay, yeah, warts and all, that's fine, but why aren't you, if you have the context, why aren't you saying something to him? Why aren't you asking him? What is, because it's a very like, he's laser focused, but why is he laser focused?
Yeah, the why behind it kind of gets, you just kind of start with he's a Michael Jackson impersonator, and then it's like, okay, but why did he turn out this way? You kind of get little pieces of it from, like, I guess from his family kind of saying how he grew up and
Yeah.
what he went through and everything else, but like it's still, I mean, high school is years ago for this kid, and it's like he's still deep in it. So like, what else is going on? And I don't know, like his girlfriend just felt more like an enabler than anything else. So she's like, oh no, this is his dream. He's gonna do it.
Definitely.
All their money is straight to that. I'm like, but
Yeah, there's just a lot of questions that I had for it, and it's a 75-minute documentary, which it doesn't overstay its welcome.
True.
So maybe that's my issue, is that maybe it needed a little more in the back half to kind of fill it out, so it didn't feel so thin. But to your point, I do think he was a fascinating subject, and I did enjoy, enjoy in quotations, watching him.
It's kind of like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Yeah, and watching what he's going through and how much like he's put into this.
Yes.
Like it's incredible.
He's very dedicated. Yeah.
He's very dedicated.
Like he fucking achieves the Guinness World Record in the middle of this fucking documentary. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's objectively like, all right, you are dedicated. You're committed to this. And then, you know, the way that everything shakes up in the end, you're just kind of like, well, I mean, yeah.
Well, like there's that one scene, I think it's his sister that he's talking to. And then he's going through like where he's gonna find the money to like come up with before the next surgery, and like he's explaining like how much money he needs, and their sister goes, that's a house payment, like that's a down payment on a house, and then he's like completely like shrugs it off, and he's like back to like he's laser focused on it, like it doesn't matter. I like what you said, Dave, about like no one's saying anything. They're just literally just watching the train wreck happen and not like dive deeper. Right. They kind of touch upon like his thoughts on Michael Jackson, right? Because like there's obviously a lot of controversy around Michael Jackson, and I feel like again they let it off a little easy.
You know what? That's
right?
it.
Because like they touch upon it, and then he completely shrugs it off, and then off they go to the next subject.
There's no counterpoint to this documentary.
Yeah.
There's just point. Yeah. There's no like it's all pros, no cons. Like there's cons sprinkled through, but I mean there's no to your point. There's no one, nothing. Not even if it wasn't even someone within his own bubble. Like nobody in this documentary. Like they interviewed nobody that has a counter argument to his existence. Like he just is, and he is.
He just wants to. Like, he just wants to be
like they say. They say that there's some shit. And there's like some darker stuff back there, but they just don't get into it.
Yeah.
And I would have liked them to challenge him a little more. I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was very like a very smile inducing moment though when he did get to LA and he was walking along Hollywood Boulevard. And like people were stopping and like, oh my God, and, like taking photos with him. And I'm like, oh, well, great. Good job. Like
the moment there where he talks to who's the guy's dressed up as Captain America. I think?
Yeah.
And they're just bonding over Michael
and they
Jackson.
Do a little dance.
And they do a dance. That was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. It was excellent. It was honestly very, very cool to see that.
And it looks like it was totally like an off the cuff, like,
they were just following him around. Yeah. And he just like came out of nowhere. Like, cause the camera even whip pans over because they weren't focused on him. They were just kind of like filming sort of like the crowd and this, and then they heard Captain America guy and they just like whip panned over and were like, the fuck is going on? And like you just see the whole thing play. It was a very genuine moment.
Yeah, I thought that was my favorite moment in the entire doc.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. But it's worth watching. Like I don't think it's a bad doc. I just
it's definitely
I just wish
needs more.
I just wish that there was more to it, or that they challenged him a bit more, and maybe they couldn't. Maybe they tried and they couldn't. They couldn't go for it, and they were just like, you know what? If we got to keep filming, this is how we got to make the movie.
Yeah. I did guess sort of at the beginning because it was like he's gonna. There's definitely gonna be plastic, especially when they were talking about the teeth. I was like, all right, there's gonna be more plastic surgery. I bet this motherfucker's gonna go to Turkey, and he fucking went to Turkey. I'm like, yep. That is the plastic surgery capital of the world.
So cringe.
Yeah,
that was cringe.
That was a heavy part.
It's but I mean like that. It makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna, and then again, the after of that, Jesus fuck, like he's just dribbling into himself.
Anyway.
Well, like the recovery time of that one jaw surgery was like 2 years. He wasn't going to be
brutal.
He wasn't going to be eating right, and then they just
the second one.
Yeah, they just jump forward and I don't understand.
Well, how long do you really want to watch him not be okay,
dude? I totally get it. I totally get it. It was just the amount of like suffering this guy put himself through just so he can get like that ultimate status, right? Like,
anyway,
gotta suffer for your art, Tony.
Oh, dude, no one knows that more than me.
What's next?
Next, we have another world premiere. We have The Click Trap.
Ooh. Talk to me. Whoever watched it.
The two of us watched it.
Nice.
It was
Have you ever seen a horror movie?
I sure have.
Multiply that by like 10.
10 horror movies?
10 horror movies.
In one?
This movie was fucking horrifying.
Oh, shit.
it was just it's all about digital advertising and
Scam artists.
Oh,
and
sure.
what the information that we have with social media, the information that we've given away for free.
Sure. Yeah.
And just how advertisers are using that
Okay.
information
So
to
that's
target and for good and for bad.
for bad. Yeah. Okay. So this isn't necessarily new subject matter.
No, if you already know about this,
Yeah.
or you worked in advertising,
Yeah, but there was also those there was a documentary that was on Netflix a few years back that everyone was fucking like obsessed over with, like it was talking about the algorithms and everything.
The
That's-
Yeah.
it's
social
all-
dilemma, wasn't it?
That was
Social
it,
dilemma,
yeah.
yeah.
Or it's all kind of tied into
Yeah.
that.
So
same
it's
thread.
it's
But
very
anyway.
much on that. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's baby's first digital advertising 101,
Sure.
but it's a scary movie because
Sure.
they're talking about real world stuff. But if you already knew all of this,
Yeah.
it's nothing new.
It's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. Like, for someone like Dave, obviously nothing new. He worked in advertising. He knows
Yeah.
this stuff. For somebody like me, who is oblivious to some certain things, and he's just
Sure.
very like, like
You're focused on your own thing.
I'm focused on
Yeah.
my own thing.
They're calling attention to things that just happen in front of you, and now you're starting to see how the sausage is made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Like I said, nothing that I didn't already know, but I
Sure.
didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went.
Oh, Tony, it's a deep hole, buddy.
Yeah. I kind of don't want like social media at all. I just want to delete all my accounts and just
Yeah.
go off the grid. Yeah, I know I'm already fucked. It's gone. It's the dream is already over for Big Tasty. But yeah, it was fucking horrific. And they had this one story of how this woman got duped, and it was just so heartbreaking to hear.
Hmm.
It was like
You
the
know-
beekeeper.
Yeah, it was essentially the beekeeper.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
It's super sad.
That shit pisses me off though.
Right?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's well made, it's well researched. It
Yeah.
doesn't like it's very like a lot of it is surface level. Like
Sure.
it doesn't dive down deep. It doesn't have to, but if you already know this stuff, it's nothing new. They're not giving you any new information.
Yeah.
Like there's a professor from what's Ryerson called now? Toronto Metropolitan
Yes.
Yeah,
University.
TMU.
There's a professor from there who
Oh.
talks for quite a bit.
Nice.
Like it's well made. I just
Mark Zuckerberg makes an appearance every now and again at his hearing.
Oh,
basically
sure.
For Facebook.
Yeah.
yeah, because they're talking about disinformation as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
all right. So
and
yeah,
like
they're just running the whole gamut.
they jump through how misinformation leads to like I'm thinking about the right doc, right? Like I know we saw a lot, but they talk about how like misinformation, like somebody like say that again?
Disinformation.
Basically like fuels people, and then
Yeah.
they end up doing some horrific shit.
Yeah. Absolutely, it does.
And that was kind of who was that? That was the guy from London.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name,
So yeah, dealing with
But
like
he
echo
is-
chambers as
yeah.
well. Yeah. Yeah.
but he's working. He's like one of the top analysts and one of the top people working in that sphere of trying to eliminate disinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's very well spoken.
He was awesome. I really enjoyed listening to him. I felt
Nice.
like I learned the most from that guy.
Nice.
But it's
a good one.
Yeah, it's
If you know about it, it's not going to be anything new. But if it's something that intrigues you in terms of that,
yeah,
It's
you'll learn a lot and
You
you'll be
will-
rightly horrified.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's
Like
it was interesting.
I'm
for sure.
still obviously I'm still scared, but I wasn't.
Yeah, but it's
We've
not,
watched
it's not
other. We have
horrifying.
watched
Yeah.
other things about this. It didn't
Yeah.
take a new angle.
Yeah.
It just kind of was
Updated though.
an updated
Yeah.
angle,
Yeah.
and it was overarching.
Yeah, because I think it's been a long time since the social dilemma too. It's been at least 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's been a
So-
while.
It was due for an update, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Tony, next.
Next we got Michelle Gondry, Do It Yourself.
Nice.
Ooh.
Basically this movie in a nutshell. It's just about Michelle Gondry from the start of his career all the way to where he is now.
Nice. And
Um, It's fucking great.
Cool.
And
I loved this one.
Yeah, it's directed by his longtime assistant Francois Nameda, and he just kind of talks about how he met up with him when Michel Gondry was part of the band Wee Wee,
Yeah.
and how like he wanted to like make videos for them because he really liked their stuff, and they're like, no, the drummer does it. He does all the videos, and the drummer was Michel Gondry.
Michel Gondry. Yeah.
And then it just kind of goes into the music videos, and then the movies, and the weird cult thing that he was part of,
Right.
where they thought, where they were all descendants of aliens or
Right.
something, which is like, okay, yeah, I guess
Sure.
that makes sense for
that tracks.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks. I
Yeah.
liked it too.
I have a greater respect for Be Kind Rewind
Oh.
because it dives into because like on surface level, I don't remember Be Kind Rewind being a great movie.
I think I remember liking it, but
I
it has
definitely
been
want
a
to
long
watch it
time.
again after this, but he just dives into how Be Kind Rewind was like the do it yourself movie. Like he was like saying that like, you know, anyone can make movies. You don't have to be big and
Sure.
famous. You can do anything. And like how he like got like groups of people from New Jersey, right?
Wherever they filmed it, might have been in New Jersey.
I'm pretty sure it was because it was the working. He wanted a specific look of people. He wanted like the working class, basically.
Yeah.
Wherever they filmed it, it might have been New Jersey.
And he got like locals and stuff to be in his movie. And like when they were filming it, they specifically didn't block people out of the way. They encouraged people to be in it, right? Because they wanted that like do it yourself look to it.
Sure.
And like they talked about how like they screened it in front of the whole neighborhood, and like the neighborhood was like seeing themselves on screen, and like everyone was just like, it was just a very surreal experience. And I was like,
Sure.
holy shit, man, like
it's the ending of the movie.
Yeah, it's the ending of the movie. He's fucking legendary.
Yeah.
Like that is something of like that's an amazing to see. And it was just great hearing stories about that. And they dive in on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Wow.
And like they even touch a little bit about Green Hornet because like he's starting to get all this fame. He wins the Oscar. He starts to get the fame, and then the studios give him a superhero movie. And he was just like, I'll only make it if I make it the way I want to make it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay. And then he just
And
went off. He just went off with
And
Seth Rogen.
he made Green Hornet.
And then he made Green Hornet.
He made
right?
something.
And like even with Green Hornet, they get into how Kato's like a do-it-yourselfer, right?
Sure.
And like he's like just basically like making things on the fly in Green Hornet. And I kind of have a greater respect for Green Hornet too. I have a greater respect for this guy and his craft because I can say that he is very authentic. He's a very authentic storyteller.
Yeah.
And he has his own unique style. He has his own unique voice. If you throw his movies on a lineup of other movies, you can tell right away that's Michel Gondry.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. This was
I
cool.
really
though.
liked it. It was so inspiring.
Yeah.
Very inspiring, especially for somebody like me who is a filmmaker. It's inspiring to watch.
Absolutely. And as a straight up DIY guy, it's got to be like super cool to sort of see and how he like got there and
exactly
what
and
he does. And
he just did it. He
current
literally
thought
just wanted
processes
to,
and everything,
he wanted to make the movies he wanted to make, and he
Yeah.
wasn't gonna
take no for an answer.
exactly
Yeah, for better or for worse.
for better or for worse.
Yep.
He wasn't gonna compromise.
Yep.
They talk to Spike Jonze for a bit, and that's fun.
Yeah,
and
sure.
then there's a random interview with Jack White where they're just on like, I guess, a boat, like a gondola
yeah,
type
that makes
thing,
sense.
just going through
That tracks for
just
Jack
going
White.
through the
Yeah.
water, and I was like,
Those
all
two
right,
fucking weirdos on a
cool.
boat. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
I had to do one of those. I was like, is that fucking Jack White?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He keeps popping up recently. I don't know what his
Right.
deal is, but
I can never remember what he looks like. It's always random
That.
when he appears.
a ghost. A
Yeah.
Victorian ghost.
yeah. It's a little deeper than surface, but it's enjoyable.
Nice.
It's enjoyable, and it will give you a deeper appreciation of Mr. Gondry
I love that.
for sure. But yeah, I really want to watch Green Hornet right now.
Right? Forgot
Do
Cameron
you?
Diaz is in it.
Do
I
you?
kind of do. I've only seen it
Alright.
once.
All right.
Tony.
Next up, we got Internal You.
Oh.
Ooh.
Internal or eternal?
Eternal.
Eternal you.
Did I fuck that up?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I think I just misheard you. Go on.
So Eternal You is about
James's favorite subject, AI.
Yeah. It's about a company that uses
Multiple companies
that use AI to help grieving people talk to their dead relatives. Basically how they get it to how they like form
it into the person as best as they can.
So they basically have an app where you can talk to your parents and it collects all the data. And then when the parents go, they upload all that into the cloud, and then you can talk to your.
Oh man,
that's
icky.
It's a little icky.
They don't. I love that I keep bringing this up. They don't challenge the people they're talking to,
Of course not.
But they are showing the moral ambiguities of it.
Yeah,
and that there's definitely
the ethics about it,
and the ethics. Like they're not just like throwing the ethics away or the moral ambiguities. Like they're showing that they're showing all of it.
Yeah,
and like all the aspects. And like there are a couple moments. Like there's one where the guy created like a digital avatar of the dead daughter, and she's interacting with it with VR headphones, VR glasses, and he's talking about like maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe this is taking it too far. So it's not like they don't let them off the hook,
right? But
they just kind of like showing them.
It's not so much that they're not letting them off the hook. It's so much as they're just giving them enough rope to hang themselves. Kind of thing. Like you can just watch it happen.
That's exactly it.
But we're not going to challenge you. If you want to fucking get there yourself, we'll film it. We're going to put it in there.
Because the one guy definitely does that to himself.
Yeah.
And they show some of the subjects who kind of use the use the apps and use the technology and how they kind of interacted with it.
Yeah.
And there's a whole session where the one woman, they got the grandfather to kind of come back.
Sure.
And it's like the whole family's there, and she's like, well, this isn't real type thing. He's not saying these words. It's just his voice, but it's a computer doing this. And like they're all talking about how fucked it is.
Yeah.
So it's I thought this was stronger than Clicktrap, because this was more interesting to me about where we're going.
Yeah.
And kind of where AI is taking us. So it's kind of like beginner level AI.
Yeah, sure.
And where it's going.
Yeah.
Without getting too into the weeds of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And it focuses specifically on deceased relatives.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I had to pause it in the middle to go deal with some family shit, but I came back and I just like jumped right back into it.
Nice.
It's really, I really enjoyed it. It's really well done.
I'm intrigued by it, but I feel like my blood is going to boil.
Yeah, you're going to be upset watching.
There's definitely some gray areas in there. Like I can see both sides. Sides.
Yeah.
Dave touched upon it. It was like the one woman who interacted with like the VR headphones and stuff, or headset, and after it, she said that after that experience, she no longer dreamed about her daughter. She always has these dreams about her. She can't really move on. And then when she said that after that reaction, she no longer dreams. So it did sort of helps. And I like that. But at the same time, there's just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. So it portrays that very well without getting into like asking the hard questions. It kind of just leaves it to you to kind of sit there. Sit with it.
Yeah.
And sit with the bullshit some of these people are saying, and some of the things where they're admitting that maybe they shouldn't have gone this far.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was a line that they shouldn't cross. And then other ones who are like, well, if I didn't cross the line, someone else would have.
Yeah. But you know what? Even to that statement, and like, altruism aside, because there's good intention buried in here.
It's very muddled.
If there's one thing that I will never do in my life is trust a fucking tech company, because you can tell me till you're blue in the face that the only reason that we're doing this is, to help people with grief and moving on. But fuck that. No, you're not. Like there is not one single tech company in the world that is only doing this for out of the goodness of their hearts. It's not.
Yeah.
Like this shit has so many knock-on effects that we can't even comprehend at this point. Like we have no idea where this will lead,
And that's kind of the thesis of
And
the
that,
yeah.
yeah.
the
Oh,
piece.
cool. Nice. Well, now I do kind of still want to watch it.
Yeah.
I
It's
need
worth,
to.
It's worth watching.
It's definitely worth watching, James.
gonna-
You should definitely check
I'm
it
gonna
out.
punch
for
a
sure.
hole through my wall.
You'll
Yeah,
probably
you
punch
will
a hole
punch a
through the
hole
wall
through the
for
wall.
sure. But I couldn't look away from the screen.
All right. I'm in. Cool.
Next up,
Yeah.
we got Never Look Away.
Ooh, the feature directorial debut by Lucy Lawless, Xena
Oh,
Warrior Princess.
nice.
This documentary is about a photojournalist by the name of Margaret Moth.
Oh, all right.
Basically an overview of her career, right? dude?
Yes.
Yeah. Touch it. They tell it from the point of view of her past lovers
Mhm.
and past colleagues and stuff.
Mhm.
This woman was an absolute badass.
Damn.
She was definitely doing some wartime journalism in Sarajevo
Yeah.
in the early 90s, back
Yeah,
when all
yeah,
the wars were
yeah,
happening and
yeah.
stuff. It's very intense, very visceral. She got shot on Sniper's Alley
Shit.
in Sarajevo, but she didn't just get shot. She got half her face blown off.
Fuck.
And they basically have to like put her jaw back together,
Yeah.
and it is just insane.
Damn.
And like just going through like how she recovered from that, how she like got integrated back into work, and how like they just gave her like the soft pieces.
Sure.
And like she just kind of lost her mind, and she was like, fuck this shit, like I'm a wartime journalist, I need to go back. And within 6 months of that injury, she was right back in Sarajevo.
Wow. That's
And
fucking crazy.
It's fucking
I don't know if
nuts.
she was in Sarajevo, but she went back to the war.
She went back to the war.
Damn.
No, I'm fairly certain she went back to Sarajevo, because there was at one point where she made the joke saying, "I'm going back to Sarajevo to find my teeth."
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's fucking hardcore, man.
Right? Like
Holy
this
shit.
woman was
That's metal.
hardcore, and like they told their colleagues were telling stories that they were trying to get a shot of these rebels basically like shooting and stuff,
Sure.
and they were getting shot at. And they were hiding behind the car waiting for like the moment so that they could start shooting.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they look up and Margaret's literally standing over them trying to get the shots while she's getting shot at.
What the fuck?
She is a badass. I
That's
really
wild.
like this documentary.
Yeah,
That's wild.
it's very like it shows who she was type thing, not who she was away from the camera. Like they only really hint at that.
Right.
More
It's
of
focused
like
on her work.
And
Yeah.
kind of like some of her promiscuity type thing, and like
Sure.
some of her the thing. I don't want to say she just did what she wanted.
Yeah. She lived her life.
She didn't really
life.
answer. She didn't really
Yeah.
answer
She
to
didn't answer to
anyone.
anybody.
She
Yeah.
went to the beat of her own drum.
Yeah.
She went to the beat of her own drum. It just kind of inexplicably ends, which I
Oh.
don't like, because it's like talking about the 90s, talking about her impact on journalism, and then she's dead of cancer.
Oh. End of
And
conversation.
then kind of like end of conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
it's very
That's
abrupt. It just
Yeah.
abruptly ends.
Yeah.
And I think that there was more to it that I would have liked to have learned more about her,
Right.
or like what she did past this point
Right.
and then the mid 90s
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I think I would have liked to know more about who she was as a person.
That's
All
right.
right.
But
So it
it's
could have been more. It could have been more full,
more full.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's it.
more well-rounded.
More
say,
well-rounded.
instead of just
Yes.
focused on what it was focused on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like to Tony's point, it was very visceral. It was very intense. You're kind of hanging on everything. And then when you find out she got shot, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Dang.
And like they show a little bit of it. They don't get
Yeah,
into it
yeah.
like the nitty gritty of what it looked like,
Yeah.
but they show like a little bit of it. And you're like, oh, that looks just as horrifying as I thought it would.
yeah. Yeah. Fuck. That's crazy.
It was
Cool.
nuts. And like they even have like interview footage of her like
Post injury.
post injury, right? And like kind of like what she sounds like now, and
Mhm.
even like her lovers were saying like how she changed from like the happy-go-lucky person that she was before, and then to what she was after.
Dang.
And it was like kind of like she just lost like part of herself, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Changed her.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Worth watching.
Worth watching. For sure.
Worth watching. Just
wish it was more well-rounded.
I wanted it to be more well-rounded.
I like it. Next.
Next up we have Swamp Dogg gets his pool painted.
Fuck yes.
Did you guys know who Swamp Dogg was before you watched this?
I sure did not.
Neither
did I get the title of the movie?
You did. Swamp Dogg gets his pool painted.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I had no idea who Swamp Dogg was.
Oh man.
I picked it. I was the one that picked this documentary.
I'm so happy you did.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
I'm so happy you did.
So it's about the titular Swamp Dogg,
yes.
and he's getting his house painted, but it's talking about his pool painted, and it's talking about his time in the recording industry and how he made his mark and everything that he did, all the incredible things he did,
and just who he is,
and who he is as a person. It's a vibe. Yeah. It's a vibe movie, but it's also like a history of who this guy was and why this guy is important.
Why music, this documentary even exists.
Why this documentary exists. Why this guy is important to music.
The music scene in general.
The music scene in general and his impact.
Yeah.
And just, I love that his buddy's name's Guitar Shorty.
Guitar Shorty.
Don't forget about Moogstar.
Moogstar.
Yeah, that's his other roommate.
Yeah, but I just love the one guy's name being Guitar Shorty.
Guitar Shorty, who was like fucking on tour like with Hendrix and like all three of them had are just, first of all, Moogstar is probably one of the most talented musicians I've ever seen put on screen. Like that guy can play literally anything and is such a vibe.
With his monkey.
Yes. Not to say anything about, Swamp Dogg himself, who is in his own right, an incredibly talented musician. I just, you know what? Like I have a real soft spot for random music documentaries that tell me about someone I've never fucking heard of, but that I should have heard of because of how many things that they've influenced over time. Like it's wild.
World class. He managed world-class Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's insane. His connection throughout, like his fingerprints are on so much of music history. And like this guy just lives like a bachelor pad life after his wife passed, of just like him and two buddies, and they just like jam every day and hang out by the pool, and he gets his pool painted throughout the documentary, and that's a whole wild thing that's going on. And like, you're talking to, his kids and people that know him, and like random celebrities show up, and like Tom Kenny apparently lives next door to him.
Yeah, Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville lives down the street and just shows up, and he's like, "What up, Swamp Dogg?" Like he's just known him his whole life. Like, it's so neat that there's just like a neighborhood guy, and like Guitar Shorty, may he rest in peace. Like is like the neighborhood mechanic and just like fixes shit, and like they drive old Cadillacs, and they're just living an entire life that I want to have.
I just love where he keeps saying like he had nine cars at one point. What the fuck do I need 9 cars?
Yeah, they pulled him over. They're like, "Oh yeah, you were caught stealing a car." He's like, "I own 9 cars. What the fuck do I need another one for?"
He was so funny. Like there was that one scene where he's in a tank top. He's like, I don't know what he's wearing, but he's getting interviewed, and then all of a sudden his cell phone goes off.
He's just chilling in the seat,
and he's just like pulls out his cell phone, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in the documentary right now. We're shooting it right now.
I'll call you later. Yeah,
like,
where were we?
Just nuts. He was so fascinating to watch.
Yeah,
hell of a character.
It caught me off guard because I was gonna just like kind of watch it but not watch it type thing, and I just got sucked in right away.
Absolutely.
And I just hung on everything. I loved this doc with all my heart. It was so much fun to watch, so interesting to watch. There's a little bit of generative AI that's a little questionable, but outside of that, he's a great subject. Guitar Shorty and Moogstar are great subjects. It's just it's a hangout movie, but it's it's
so much more.
It's so much more than that, and it's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
And this was my favorite by far.
Yeah.
I should have watched it at South by. Tony, I'm glad you asked for this. And just, yeah, it's a vibe, and I loved it.
It's very much the same. Going into this was just based on Tony's one review. He's like, Swamp Dog's a vibe. And I was like, all right. Like, and I came into it with like, I'll just throw it on. This is going to be lighthearted, and I'll just kind of hang out and watch Swamp Dog and maybe like scroll on my phone for a little bit because I didn't know what the hell it was going to be. And then holy shit, like just immediately I was like, I can't look away. This is just absolutely incredible. Like this man is so fucking cool.
And how many genres he worked in?
All of them.
And he had so many albums. I love all his album art.
Oh my god,
the album art was
Rat on. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it. Like I just wanted to be writing a rat. The one where he's in a hot dog. I just wanted to be a hot dog. I'm like, I fucking love this guy. This guy is my hero. And then like he's got like gold and platinum records up on the wall because like he produced and worked with so many people and like created songs. And like there's that bit at the end where like I guess he recorded almost like a funk version of this one country song.
Yeah.
And then he gets together with the guy that originally wrote it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fine, I think, or something like that.
Something like that.
And they like are hanging out in his house and they like re-record a version of it, but very much in the country theme, like the original version. But like Swamp Dog took the second verse and the chorus, and like it was just like fascinating. Like this guy, he doesn't care. Like there is no genre. It's genre is whatever he wants it to be. And he, like I think at one point he's like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, if I ask Moog to put a piano on the roof because that's the only way I could get the vibe, you'd go get the ladder right away and he'd be up there jamming out, and that's we'll write a song, and like, you know, he's just writing music constantly.
There's some weirdness to it though, like that whole cookbook thing. That was weird.
Yeah, that was. I have no fucking clue what was happening.
That was weird. And then like where they're like the animation where it's like Scooby and the gang.
Also fucking weird. But that story was so fucking wild.
Yeah,
like,
it's a wild story, and it's fun to see play out.
Yeah.
I think, but you're just like, I think that's the whole vibe of the movie, where you're just like, it's non-linear. It's kind of going all over the place.
It's wherever the conversation
takes it, and then you're just kind of sitting there. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it just gets progressively weirder.
Who showed it? Like, let's go check out Evel Knievel's grave. First of all, I thought about you right away, Tony. I was like, oh man, they're going to hang out in a cemetery. Tony's in. And then secondly, they get to the grave and like someone just busts out the Evel Knievel costume. Like, who the fuck had that? Who were you hanging out with, sir?
Just right from the start, man. The 70s aesthetic, like just like the style of it. I was like, oh shit, I picked gold here.
Yeah, you did.
Absolutely.
You did. It was
so inspiring, so heartwarming.
I love the graphics.
The graphics are fun.
So good.
Right. I liked his overall message about just being yourself and finding yourself.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so fucking weird, and it's just
so out there.
It shouldn't work as well as it does, and it's just so much fun. And
even the reveal of the pool at the end.
Oh, I loved when I loved when they finally showed it. I was like,
beautiful.
Yes, fucking yes.
Fucking
of course, that's what it is.
Also, there was one Letterboxd review that said Dream Blunt rotation would be SpongeBob, Swamp Dog, and Johnny Knoxville, and I went, yeah,
I want to be in that circle for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed the hell out of this. Like, it's weird. It might not you might not think it's for you, but just
go with it.
Just
man.
go with it and just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah. Next
up we have another world premiere. We have Curl Power.
Curl Power.
So you guys saw this one? I did not.
Yeah.
4K girls.
Sorry?
4K girls.
4K girls. Except there was 5 of them. Anyway.
The 5th one says the K.
Yes. So it's about 5 girls who are on a curling team in their junior and senior year of high school. And it sort of follows them along through those basically like 1-ish year. Like it's a full year almost that they're following them through.
Yeah, a year and a bit. And
and a bit.
The coach is like a medal winning coach.
Yeah. So one of their
mothers is
one of the 2 of them actually.
2 of them.
So 2 of these girls' moms are Olympic medal winning Canadian Olympic champions curling players. So they're like fucking, curling royalty sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just kind of like these are just teenage girls that are in the last year or 2 years of high school, depending on which one we're following, because it's a junior senior mixed team. And you're just sort of following their life. It's kind of I think I described it sort of as like a slice of life sort of thing. You're just following. There's nothing else. I don't know what else to describe it as.
Yeah. That's kind of it. And it I found it a little meandering at certain points, and I thought that I kept confusing two of the girls.
Yep, me too. I couldn't keep their names straight at all.
It wasn't that I couldn't keep their name. I obviously couldn't keep their names straight, but it was just like two of them looked very similar.
Yes.
And when the one was talking, I was like,
Is
but
that?
I thought this, and then
it
turns out,
constantly.
Like it has some really cool curling footage, and like it's very intimate.
Yeah.
But then like they're going deep on one thing. Like the one girl is having mental health issues, and she's talking about her depression and the antidepressants. And then they just never go back to it.
Yep. End of that. Yeah. And then, or like her mom, the one mom, not cancer. Her mom, one of the moms had cancer and is like suffering. And they kind of touch about it for half a second. And they come back and have like a talking head or an interview with her specifically, like on her bed, like she's still recovering from cancer. And that's it. Like, it was very much like they had 5 people to focus on, and they tried to divide that equally, but that was kind of the detriment of what was going on. So yeah, meandering because it felt like it was trying to give equal attention to everybody. And I mean, it does a decent enough job at that, especially, I don't know what is going through a high school girl's mind in 2024 or 2023. Like it's a whole different world out there. So like in that respect, I thought it was kind of interesting to kind of see like what a day-to-day is like for, I guess, a younger high school student now. Like what is their reality like? So I enjoyed that angle of it, and also like the focus on, they're a really strong curling team, and like one of them goes off to university and it like tears the team apart. Kind of like they're all really like heartbroken and sad. Like go through one more tournament, and the tournament doesn't turn out the way that they hoped it was gonna. It's like there's a lot of like moments in there that was kind of interesting to watch, but
yeah, that was it for me as well. And there was one other thing. Oh, there's just a weird vibe in scene where like she's showing them at like a party where they get dressed up in like tight corset type things, and then suddenly they're like playing like beer pong and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's just like some of these things just kind of happen.
Yeah. But again, it felt again kind of like it's there's high school. Like I don't know, there was weekends where like I just go to a random ass party, and you're like back to regular life after that. Like it just kind of happens out of nowhere.
It's one thing for us to know that that's what high school is like. It's another thing to actually portray underage drinking.
Yeah. I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were covering it with it was water.
Really?
It wasn't explicit. Like it wasn't explicit that there was like alcohol and shit about, but like it was very
like
much implied.
Levels of
it wasn't quite
They weren't doing a mountain of blow, Tony.
I don't know what high schoolers do these days.
Well, you could watch Curl Power and find out.
Power and find out. I thought it could have been better.
Yes,
I thought it could have been stronger. I thought it could have been tighter.
It wasn't. Yeah.
And
yes, thank you. Tighter.
I thought it could have been tighter. I think it was a little too loose. And
wasn't the movie like 80 minutes?
Yeah, and still very loose.
How much fucking tighter do you guys need?
A lot of meandering, Tony. Like
there's a lot of
that's
meandering.
it. Like it doesn't have to be tighter in terms of runtime. It just needs to be more focused. Then, like pick something that I'm going to follow through it instead of just kind of like following the yellow brick road. In some cases that works, like a thing like Swamp Dog where it kind of joyfully comes together where you can just follow the conversation as it goes. This doesn't, because there's too many subjects going on and there's too many things happening, but nothing is given the attention that I think it deserves.
Yeah,
except for maybe the curling. Which is fine because that's what the movie's about, but then you're losing focus away from that. But it's not about the curling,
it's about them.
It's about them. So anyway, pick a lane.
Mr. Tony.
Last but not least, because
Yeah.
we still have like 8 or 9 movies to get through.
God.
This
Yes.
is the last one for tonight.
Yeah.
We have Cyborg Generation,
Woo.
which was one that I saw.
Yes.
Take us
to me,
home,
Goose.
Tony.
Talk to me, Goose.
So this one follows a Spanish musician by the name of Kai Landre, who
Sure.
gets implanted with a cybernetic organ that helps him perceive sound from outer space to inspire him musically.
What?
Huh.
So he gets a cybernetic organ implanted into him so that he can hear sounds from outer space to help him with his music.
I say again. What?
We don't need to keep talking. We don't need to keep going on about it.
So this was one of those movies where you got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I'm not believing it currently.
So two of the other subjects that he talks to, because it's all leading up to him getting the
Implant?
implant. So he and forgive me if I don't know. I just learned about this.
Sure, go ahead.
He talks to two other trans species activists.
Okay.
One was by the name of Neil Harbison
Sure.
and Moon Ribus.
Sure.
The world's first cyborg artist.
Yes.
Oh,
Neil, who
okay.
is legally the first recognized cyborg.
Yes.
He has an implanted antenna so that he can hear colors.
Sure.
Moon was implanted with special sensors in her feet so that she could feel earthquakes in her feet.
Sure.
And yeah, that was it.
Huh.
So the whole movie is about self-discovery
Yeah.
and finding yourself
As a
Okay.
cyborg.
As a cyborg.
as just who you are.
Yeah,
Just
sure,
basically
yeah.
finding out who you are.
Living your truth.
Living your truth. Like I said, it's one of those movies where you have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
getting that. Yeah.
It's very dreamlike.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not real,
Right.
but it is.
Okay.
I wanted to like it more,
Right.
but at the same time, I was also fascinated. I learned more, which is always great. You always want a documentary that teaches you something, especially teaches you about something that you don't know.
Yeah.
But the whole cyborg thing, not quite my tempo.
Sure. Well, so it challenged you anyway.
Very, it definitely challenged me.
Neat.
It was definitely out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I bow down to Hot Docs for having this because there is no fucking way a movie like this would ever be on my radar.
Right.
So thank you, Hot Docs, for bringing this to us. It's just a very challenging documentary.
Interesting.
I do recommend both of you watch it because
I really want to because I just want to understand.
I need to be able to talk about this with somebody.
Yeah. Okay.
It was very real, very raw.
Yeah.
At one point, they were all just having a conversation. Like I think there was like 3 or 4 of them in the room, and it's literally just the camera spinning, and they're literally just having a conversation, acting like the camera's not even there.
Wow.
Right.
Wild.
And they were just talking about like living their truth and like what it's like to have these implanted organs inside of you.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's all I really gotta say about that.
All right.
I definitely need somebody to see it.
Okay.
One of you two, because I
Okay.
need to talk to somebody about it.
Okay.
Is this where I tell you that I have a cybernetic?
Oh my
organ
God.
Oh my gosh.
inside of me?
I should also
Is it like crimes of the future type thing?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Along that vibe. By the way, his music is something special because they like dive into like when he gets the implant and like how it like, and he's in the recording studio recording his music, and it is something else.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. I am intrigued. I kind of want to know.
It's also 63 minutes.
Oh, then I definitely want to know. That's brisk.
It is definitely a brisk watch.
I can
But
take that.
I will have the one caveat. It may be 63 minutes, but it's a very long
Okay.
63 minutes.
Okay. You feel the 63.
You feel it. You feel it for
That's
sure.
tough to do. That's an accomplishment in and of itself at 63 minutes.
But it was definitely interesting.
All right.
Something I would have never watched any other way.
Neat.
Yeah.
I love it.
And with that, that's
We're wrapped on this edition of Hot Talks.
Stay tuned for part 3.
Spoil us. They spoil us, I tell you.
They did.
Yeah,
they
they
did
did.
really spoil us. Thank you, Hot Docs. Thank you all the filmmakers and the PR reps who sent these films to us to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, like they said, we have a few more to get through, and but the festival just ended, so hopefully we got a little bit more time to kind of skim through the
Can breathe a little bit now.
the last handful that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll bring that to you in our next episode.
Nice.
But before we do that, I think we're going to talk about The Fall Guy,
Hell yeah, we are.
starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt,
New movie time.
directed by David Leitch,
Yeah.
who did Atomic Blonde,
Yes.
and Deadpool 2,
Yes.
and Hobbs versus Shaw, or Hobbs and Shaw.
I was
Hobbs
gonna
and
say
Shaw.
Bullet
And
Train.
Bullet Train as well.
Bullet Train,
Oh.
and he worked on John Wick, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's the stunt coordinator, I think.
He is a prolific stunt coordinator.
Yes.
Or stuntman, stunt coordinator.
Yeah, because he went from that. I remember that because he was on that, and then he went over to doing his own sort of films.
Yeah,
he now he has his own production company.
He co-directed John Wick.
That's it. Yeah, and now he's got his own production company, which was nice to see. I guess good
Very
for him.
cool.
Love
Yeah.
the product placement of his
Oh
production
yeah, that
company
was
in
fun.
the movie.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, that was fun.
So, Tony, can you actually? You know what?
What?
Tony literally just talked.
Do you want?
I'm gonna go over it. So,
Okay.
So Ryan Gosling is the titular Fall Guy. He's the stuntman.
Yes.
For a shitty actor.
Yes.
Who is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
He gets in Ryan because me and Tony are on a first name basis with him. He gets in an accident, hurts himself, and he's kind of out of the game. And then he gets brought back because shitty Aaron Taylor Johnson has gone missing from the set in Australia, and they need to keep making the movie. So he has to go, and he has to help find him
so they can finish the movie.
So they can help finish the movie.
Yeah.
And all of this is happening while the love of Ryan Gosling's life is trying to direct her first movie. It's Emily Blunt, and her name's Jodie Moran or something.
Yeah, Jodie
Morano.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Ryan, what's Gosling's name?
Colt
Seavers.
And it's all in the movie Metal Storm, which has a really sick logo, I gotta say.
It does have a sick logo.
That movie actually looks kind of sick. I'd watch it.
We'll get to that. Yeah, so that I think is the summary of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's about that. I could have done it a little cleaner than that, but yeah, the producer is Hannah Waddingham from Game of Thrones and
Ted Lasso.
And who else is in it? Teresa Palmer shows up for a bit.
Yep.
As does Oscar nominee Stephanie Hsu.
Yes.
And
Winston Duke.
My boy Winston Duke.
Here's a good part. I like.
Yeah, I really like Winston Duke.
So, what did we think of The Fall Guy?
I'm gonna let you guys talk.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just, you know what? Fuck it. Like I had fun with it. I really, really just sat down and had an enjoyable time. Gosling's sort of brand of humor, which is I can only describe as Gosling's brand of humor.
He's got the riz.
Yeah.
He's definitely got riz.
It was great on display. I thought him and Emily Blunt were fun together in the scenes that they were together, and then in the scenes that they weren't, it was fine. I enjoyed most of the action. Some of the action felt a little bit meh, but most of it sort of landed the way that I expected it to. I liked some of the stunt work that they were able to pull off. And like the stunts that they did both, as part of the Fall Guys narrative and Metal Storm's narrative, as I will separate the two, were genuinely thrilling to watch get set up. And like, even to that point, you get to the credits, and it was one of the few credits that actually has something like behind the scenesy, like, they used to do bloopers and shit. And now like this was kind of like the behind the scenes, like, here's all those stunts that you watch performed by the actual stunt people that did it. And like how like the car rig was completely different than the way that they had cropped, like edited it together with Gosling and everything else. And it was definitely like a very different thing, but they did the stunt, like everything was very well done practically, for the most part. So I liked that they kind of did that, and
Gosling did some of his own stunts.
Gosling did some of his own stunts, but they were also very like, hey, here's my stunt team. And like, he had the picture with the three of them, the three stunt guys that worked with him as well.
They've definitely been leaning into that with the marketing as well.
Yeah. And like, I appreciate that, because like, I feel like stunt people don't ever get that. And I did enjoy them calling them out, for, so is there an Oscar for that? No.
No,
that was,
you're a stuntman. No one's going to notice you're gone. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. And it, again, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a really good time. It's not amazing. It's not, Citizen Kane, but it's a fun popcorn flick. And
I was expecting Citizen Kane.
Well, there's your first problem. It's a fun popcorn flick. Like, it's just a good time at a theater with a good group of people. You'll have a laugh. You'll enjoy some action, and it's fine. A little bit long at points. That's about it.
Would you like to take it, or would you like me to speak?
I had a blast. I had a blasty blast with this. I liked all the film references.
Yeah.
Like I cacked up at the when they were doing the car scene.
Yeah.
Like when he's back, when he's first back,
yeah.
and he wrecks the camera, and she
Yeah.
gets all mad, and she's just there like, keep rolling. We have 7 more cameras. He'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah,
like, oh, I
Yeah.
feel that pain.
Yeah.
I know that pain.
Yeah.
I
like the fake movie posters.
Yeah.
I also loved every single post-it note that Aaron Taylor Johnson's what's his name? Tom Ryder.
Tom Ryder.
Yeah, every single post-it note that Tom Ryder ever wrote was my favorite thing.
This is
including
lower.
2% breast milk. Great. And also, yeah, is it Mamo or a Momo?
I've actually had like literally like I feel that too. Like I've done it more than once.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote an entire review of Aquaman and spelled his name wrong.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Mr. Will Wong was not pleased.
It really
he was not pleased.
Yeah.
It's
carry on.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is what it
get
is.
rid of the cockatoo and get a koala.
Excellent. Yeah. Right? Like, fun.
It is a pinch too long. I will say that one of the downers is I wasn't really interested in the Aaron Taylor Johnson story. I was more interested in their love story.
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit more of that, only because like it starts to get muddled and kind of convoluted, and like it's almost like I just didn't like that. Didn't like it at all. But other than that, fun movie, hilarious. I laughed out loud.
Yeah, me too.
Melissa had a great time as well. And yeah, just a really, really, really fun movie. Fuck, I'm saying the wrong word. Harmless fun.
Yeah, harmless fun. Him
Pretty
crying.
harmful.
Well, yeah, sure.
And some of the stunts are like absolutely like
gnarly.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like when they get him on the crane and they basically like whip him at the helicopter.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Wild shit, man. It's wild shit what they pulled off.
Yeah.
But also him crying in the pickup truck to Taylor Swift was also
No notes.
no notes. Perfect. Excellent execution.
Drives her to her car that's 50 feet away.
Yeah. I also cringed when because when he was given the keys, he's like, I only got 2 production trucks and they're like product placement, and this is the only left-hand drive one, so don't wreck it. And then he fucking annihilates that truck on a Sydney street. Excellent. Dave. Come on, come poo-poo this.
I know he's gonna poo-poo it.
I thought it was just fine.
He wasn't reacting
You're
the way I
lame.
wanted him to react.
I
I kept looking over at him, and he was like, he had his like his hands on his face. Usually when he has his hands on his face, he knows he's not into it as well.
Yeah.
I wanted more from it. I thought it was too long, and
Oh, it's definitely too long.
I hated the fact that they're like, oh, there's third act problems. We can't figure out the third act, and they get to the third act, and it's a fucking mess. It's such a mess.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Convoluted bullshit.
When the stories basically collide, it's exactly what he says. It's convoluted. It misses the mark completely.
Yeah, the third act misses the mark. Like there's some good there's the good action scenes. I think they used a little too much CGI in some of it, considering when they show the bloopers, like how much of it was very real.
Yeah,
but like some of it felt a little too CGI-ish. Which I didn't like. But I think it's a great ode to stuntmen, but I think they could have just made it simpler.
Yeah.
I think simple would have made it better.
Yeah.
Like none of this convoluted nonsense of where it goes with the whole finding Aaron Taylor Johnson, Tom Ryder bullshit.
But
like
I can see two parts of this though. Like I can see the, like if you were just to make a movie where it was just them making Metal Storm, that's one thing. But you can't just do that. Like that is just, it's not enough. It's just kind of one thing, and like it would kind of it would not. There's not enough to it. Whereas the Tom Ryder bit, I can see how that adds to it, but then you're right. When it tries to come back together, when you try to put these two stories together, then it just kind of falls apart, and they just had to come up with a yada yada plan of, we'll just get him to say it on the mic.
Yeah,
we'll figure out.
It's all very like,
and it
convenient
so
how it
quickly.
all comes together type thing, but it does. I don't know.
Not enough setup to it.
Not enough setup to it, and I wasn't. By the time they finally get to that point, I was like, okay, come on, guys, like let's just wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah. I've had enough.
It was too long. Like
it was definitely too long.
Yeah. I love my boy Gosling.
Yeah.
And I do love Emily Blunt. I think they're great and they have great chemistry and stuff, but it's too long and it's too drawn out. And if you wanted to smash these two stories together, maybe there was a better way to do it that wasn't so convoluted, so nonsensical. And just because you call out that the third act is a mess doesn't mean you can just come back and be like, oh, it's messy. We already told you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's some fun nods to other stuff. I like all the bits with Miami Vice because I love Miami Vice.
Yeah, man.
And I just wanted more from it.
Yeah.
I just really wanted more from it. Like the fun parts are fun, but there's just like there's so much that's not anything. And I was over it. I didn't really love that fight scene in the fucking dumpster thing. That was weird.
Oh, really? I liked that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
That was okay. I thought it was weird. I thought that was weird. And it like Stephanie Hsu and fucking Teresa Palmer are just kind of there.
Who was Teresa Palmer?
She was the actress. She like comes at him with a fake sword.
Yeah.
That was Teresa Palmer?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so that obviously went over my head, and
she just exists. She just exists in the background for most of the movie.
Yeah, but it seems like there's so much of it that was like cut.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that like I'm sure there's an entire fucking 45-minute extended cut with all the wacky supporting characters and all the stuff they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just could have been tighter. It could have been and I think they could have simplified it a little. I think it overcomplicated itself for no reason.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And yeah, I would have liked a little more. I would have liked the stunts to shine a little more. I did like the one on the beach. I think that one was pretty solid. But I think the one in the dumpster could have shined a bit more with a little less CGI, and the ending one that was kind of like all over the place. Like part of it was real, part of it wasn't, part of it was kind of weird.
I mean, they jumped that car.
I know they jumped the car.
It's a huge fucking jump.
I know they jumped.
They pulled it off,
and like I love "I Was Made for Loving You." I love that song.
I didn't need 78 renditions of it.
I didn't need 78 renditions of it.
Classical, freeform jazz, minor key piano. It was, I wanted to listen to the song, but I was like, you know what? I've heard it enough. I'm good.
You know what, guys? Kiss has, I don't know how many albums Kiss has. They got more than one song, guys.
Yeah. No love for Detroit Rock City. Oh,
Love Gun.
Come on.
Yeah.
They got albums full of this shit.
I would also like to talk about the I enjoyed them cutting a trailer for Metal Storm at the end and having Momoa throughout the entire thing.
That
of
was
it.
great.
That was excellent. I
notes.
also appreciated the shout out to Tropic Thunder where they called him MTV's Best Kiss winner, Jason Momoa.
I did like that.
Excellent. I haven't heard someone use that line since Tropic Thunder, and I'm very happy it came back.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. Yeah, MTV Best Kiss Award winner Tobey Maguire and Robert Downey Jr. in Satan's Alley. So
Kirk
good.
Lazarus.
Kirk Lazarus. Satan's Alley. God. Anyway, so I was happy to see a fake trailer come back. It also, just seeing Momoa and his like wildness. I was talking to my girlfriend afterwards because we were walking home, and she was like, "Man, like Momoa is just like an insane person." And then I told her the story
Oh my gosh.
of the screening of Momoa or the screening of the movie Momoa was in that you and I were at.
Top 5 TIFF moments.
The Bad Batch.
The
For
Bad
sure.
Batch. And that
I missed out
fucking
on that. I'm still upset.
it's surreal. Even saying the entire story is surreal. Like none of it makes any sense.
The Brita filter, him smashing
Like,
the glass on,
all
and
of
then
it.
him like sweeping it up with his
All of
shoes,
it was
basically
nuts. Like,
reacting to us,
oh
reacting to
my
him.
God, it
He
was
reacted to you guys.
so
reacting
like
to him.
here's the entire setup. All
Oh,
right, so
God.
the Bad Batch we're there to see the Bad Batch. They bring the entire cast that was there because I think it was a premiere.
Yeah.
They bring the entire cast out to introduce the film, and this was at the Ryerson, so I guess now the Toronto Metropolitan University Theater. We were sitting sort of where we always sit, right side towards the front, decent view. Everyone comes out, whatever. They introduce the film, yada yada yada. Jason Momoa is there. Everyone's like, "Oh my God!"
He's
whatever.
in maroon leather pants and just,
Cowboy boots.
Cowboy boots, a
And a
vest, and a tank top under the vest.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, and now put your hands together and let's watch the Bad Batch sort of thing. So then most of the cast funnels their way down to the row that was literally directly across the aisle from where Tony and I were. But Jason Momoa like leaves and goes backstage, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's just not one of those guys that watches the movie, or he's too big a star, he doesn't want to be bothered. Okay, whatever, that's fine. We got to see him. He'll be back after, I'm sure. Whatever. Movie goes down. We're going through the usual TIFF rigmarole of Christie, et cetera, and then Momoa comes back out, and he's got a glass and a Brita filter, an entire pitcher of a Brita filter. And he comes down the steps and he walks past us. And I think Tony and I were the only ones that noticed him. And we're just like, what the fuck? And he just looks and went, hey, shut up.
He's like, we just started laughing. He's like, we're like,
the fuck?
holy shit, he saw
So he
us.
sits down and he's literally across the aisle from us. He sits down. The movie starts or whatever. All of a sudden, I see him take his fucking boots off. He's just got his feet in the aisle. The Brita pitcher down beside him. He's got his glass. Every once in a while, he just refills the glass and keeps drinking, enjoying the shit out of whatever the fuck the Bad Batch was.
Yeah. Movie opens with like someone getting their leg cut off, and then all you hear is Momoa beside us being like, oh, that's gnarly.
Yeah. The movie finishes. The rest of the movie was without incident, and they come back up to do a Q&A. I don't remember what happened that made him smash the glass at this
He
point.
was just excited, like he was amped.
He was just
like
so amped that he just was like, bah! Just like smashed this glass on the ground, and like then just started sweeping it up with his foot, and like it was just insane. I've never like that man is insane. Anyway, seeing him also act insane in this trailer for Metal Storm, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That
No
feels like
notes.
they just like Momoa was just hanging out in Australia, and they were just like, hey, you want to come down and just do this thing quickly? He's like, all right, whatever, I got time. And then just went back to whatever the fuck he does, ride motorcycles around Hawaii. I don't know.
I assumed he spoke to fish.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. He
definitely
just
speaks to
walked
fish.
back into the sea from whence he came. Anyway, there's for all our listeners, there's the Momoa story that lives in my head rent free.
Hell of it.
regret
I
not
can't
being
believe we were
there.
so close to getting a photo.
Fuck,
Man,
Piss
I
me
still,
off
I,
all the
st- I
time.
still like that hurt. That hurts me.
Yeah, you
Does it
should have
hurt
been
more
there,
than
buddy.
Gosling?
It's about No, God, I waited 6 hours for
Yeah,
Gosling.
no, that hurts.
That
hurts.
motherfucker.
You know what?
Me and that motherfucker have unfinished business.
You know what? And that one can hurt more because you waited 6 hours and you really got nothing. You didn't even get a good story out of it other than you waited for 6 hours and didn't get anything.
Yeah.
We at least got this
We
from
got the
Momoa.
story.
He
We
gave
got
us
the
this.
story. Exactly.
Is it Mamo or a Momo? Anyway.
And that entire story was more entertaining than The Fall Guy.
Oh,
come on.
Man, you're such a hater.
I'm not a hater.
Don't
I
poo-poo on it.
I wanted more from it. It's fun enough. It's a VOD watch. It's not a rush out to see it watch.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. I would say it's a Tuesday.
yeah, it could be a Tuesday.
I'd say it's a Tuesday. Like that feels like a Tuesday.
Now that you say, I want it to be louder.
I thought it was too loud.
It was loud as shit.
There were
I wanted
certain
it to be a little
pieces of
lighter.
dialogue I didn't even hear.
Yeah.
No, I wanted it to be louder.
Apparently, there's a joke, like a Johnny Depp and Amber Heard joke that the internet doesn't like,
What?
and I didn't even hear it.
When was that joke?
I don't even remember that.
I believe after they trashed the trailer,
Oh,
she comes in and
Oh,
says something
yeah,
along
yeah.
the lines
I remember
of "It looks like Johnny and Amber were just here" type thing.
Oh, that's what she says.
She
Okay.
says something like
Yeah.
that, and the internet's not very happy about it. But
Oh, whatever.
I had to look it up because I was like, I don't remember this happening.
Yeah. Oh, I remember
cut-
that.
'cause-
I just don't remember the line.
I don't remember the line at all. It
Huh.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't funny, and it wasn't memorable.
No.
So the internet's upset.
Well,
But,
internet's
the
always
internet's
upset.
always upset about something.
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought the audio mix was a little off. At least when we watched.
Could have been.
That could have just been shitty Cineplex.
It
Well,
could have
yeah,
been.
it
Could have been
been.
shitty Mountain Cineplex.
Yeah.
My Limax was loud as fuck.
Yeah, it was loud tone.
Maybe where you were sitting wasn't.
Maybe.
Maybe I had the optimal sound.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you did.
You were right in the path
I was
of
right
the
in the
speaker.
path.
Yeah, you know what? You know what it probably was. I probably would have preferred to see it in 4DX. It needed to be in there. Yeah, because like some of the stunts, some of the stuff, like
the hits would have been fun.
yeah, it would have
And,
been
like,
fun.
Even that fight in the condo was I thought that was fun, especially when like all the guys are coming in when it's him and Winston and all the guys are coming in, he like conveniently moves the couch cushions, kind of almost planning exactly how this is probably going to go
fucking
down,
love that.
and then they just both fall off the balcony and he lands on his setup couch cushions. Excellent.
The little details are fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's not a fun movie. It's enjoyable and it's tongue in cheek and it's
Very.
silly.
Yeah.
But I think it could have been much tighter and I think it could have been simpler.
Yeah,
That's fair.
No,
I think
that's
it
fair.
would have been a lot better. But I'll take Ryan Gosling being a ham any day.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, I love serious Ryan Gosling, but like hamming it up Ryan Gosling is the best Ryan Gosling.
Do you want any more himbo Aaron Taylor Johnson?
No, I don't need any more of that.
Fuck.
And
that
I
guy.
really don't want him to be Bond. I really hope it's not true.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
come on.
Do something
I
different.
could do something different. But I liked Aaron Taylor Johnson better in
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
With who was with him? Who's his
Brian
who's his brother?
Tyree.
Brian
Actually,
Tyree Henry. Yeah.
In since we're talking David Leitch, Bullet Train versus The Fall Guy, which ends up being the stronger movie, because I think both kind of suffered a similar problem of it being a little bit too long
Too long and too convoluted.
and too convoluted.
Yeah.
So between those
Maybe
two,
that's just a thing for him.
it could be, and that could just be the way that he is as a filmmaker. And
'Cause-
when I think about Atomic Blonde,
Atomic Blonde was a little
also too
convoluted.
long and a little bit too convoluted.
And Deadpool 2 is also a little too
Long and convoluted. Yeah. So I think that
You know
might
what's
just
not?
be him.
You know what's not long and convoluted?
What?
John Wick.
Oh, so we know who the better director is.
I guess we do.
Oh boy. Oof.
Oof.
I
Oof.
guess we do.
It's like finding out that who did Runaway Dolls? Was that Driveway Dolls? Was that Joel? Or
No, Ethan.
Ethan. Yeah, we know which Coen is the better director.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
He
But anyway.
also did Hobbs and Shaw.
Which was also
long
a little
and
long and
convoluted.
Convoluted. All right, so
Okay,
it's just him.
so he's got a
He's got a pattern.
He's got a pattern. He's got a pattern. He has his strengths, and
Yeah.
brevity is not a strength.
No.
Don't get me wrong. All those movies, excellent action movies. They're very
The action
harmless.
is good.
The action is good.
He knows how to shoot
I love
action.
that one scene in Atomic Blonde.
The staircase?
The staircase.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's in his logo.
Yeah.
His opening logo.
Yeah.
And even like the opening shot of Atomic Blonde, where she goes in and she turns the light on, and you see like her mangled face and her mangled body and stuff like that's fucking cool. He has his strengths.
Yeah.
Storytelling.
He needs something to. He needs
to reel it in
a
little
directing
bit.
partner to reel him in.
Yeah. He needs to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
There. I think that's the way to sum it up. Is that what you're getting out of The Fall Guy is a David Leitch movie.
Yeah.
It is going to be long. It's going to be convoluted. So just kind of understand that going in and go see it on a Tuesday.
But the action,
it'll be fun.
The action's fucking
the
bomb.
Yeah. Great stunt work.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps
I'll let
that
you
up.
guys
Right?
have it.
Amazing. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
So that I think wraps up this episode where we talked just hot dogs and just The Fall Guy. And yeah, I think we're going to be back in 2 weeks, regular scheduled episode. We're going to finish off sort of these last remaining hot dogs documentaries that we got, and talk to you about another new movie that comes out in a couple weeks.
And prepping for Tribeca.
And prepping for Tribeca. We can only hope that Tribeca will be as nice to us as hot dogs is, but
I hope so.
You know what? If they hit 70% as nice as hot dogs has been, that's still a shitload of movies to watch.
This is
so
true.
that will be great nonetheless. But yeah, big ups again, as always, to Hot Dogs for hosting us, for having us, for giving us all of these documentaries to review and talk about and spread the word. Because you know what, to Tony's point about the Cyborg one, if it wasn't for Hot Dogs, we wouldn't have even fucking watched half of these.
It's true.
So
It's true.
We'll have a new Shutter Minute as well, and maybe a new Blue.
Maybe.
Yeah, we might get back
Maybe.
to some regular scheduled program. Let's see how many documentaries we make it through, and we'll get back to it. We promise we'll be back. But until then, I'm still Jimmy, and I'm here as always with
Big Taste of Tony B.
Oh yeah, and
Documentary Dave.
love it. I love it. We love you, and we'll see you on 2 weeks.